This ought to do it. Oh, it's so ominous. It's the middle of winter. You know what that means? Time for spring cleaning. I don't know, it's like 60 degrees outside, and I need to get rid of the Durango, so no time like the present. Welcome to my gross kitchen straight out of the 70s. There's a battery tray on a cutting board. That's how you know it's my kitchen. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with HelloFresh by now. I'm a personal HelloFresh customer, and I love it. But a lot of the time, I either don't have time or just don't feel like cooking a whole daggum meal. Thanks to Factor for sponsoring this video. Factor is a ready-to-eat meal delivery service. With Factor meals, you just slide off the cardboard cover, stab the film a couple of times with your ventilation instrument of choice, pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes, or you can also heat it up in the oven if you want to. And then 2 minutes later, boom, you have a delicious, ready-to-eat meal. Right now I have HelloFresh and Factor, and I plan to keep both of those services. What I've been doing is cook a whole meal one night, and then the next night I'll just throw a Factor meal in the microwave for 2 minutes, and while that's cooking, I'll put all the dishes created from the meal the previous night into the dishwasher, and then I can enjoy my Factor meal. And they're really good too. Oh my God. These meals are never frozen. They're delivered in a refrigerated box right to your door, just like HelloFresh meals are. And by the way, if you wonder why I keep mentioning HelloFresh, it's because Factor is owned by HelloFresh. So you get the same high quality ingredients, you get the same delicious tasting meals, but without all the prep and dish dirtying. I do legitimately highly recommend Factor, and they sent me these Factor smoothies, which are also very good. If you want to try Factor for yourself, go to factor75.com and enter code AGINGWHEELS for 60% off your first box, or go to the link down in the doobly-doo. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring. You interrupted my video. Again, go to factor75.com and use code AGINGWHEELS at checkout for 60% off your first box. That's what I thought. What about you? Do you have something you'd like to say? If you didn't know I had a Dodge Durango, I have a Dodge Durango. It's a 2003 Dodge Durango. I've had it for almost 4 years now. I bought it way back in 2019 for a whopping $500. Several years ago now, I did a couple destruction reviews where I take a car. The first one was a Mitsubishi Lancer, and the second one was a Honda Civic. And I made a car review of them, but I was destroying the car along the process. At least that was the idea. Didn't exactly pan out, and I'm sure I could do a lot better job, but you can go back and watch those old videos if you want to. I think the first one is like 7, almost 8 years old now. I plan to do a third installment of this series and destroy the Durango throughout the process of a review of it. But perfectionism got in the way. I kept thinking, well, I can do a lot better than the first 2 videos. I've got a lot more storytelling ability now. But that meant that I had to one-up myself, and any idea that I deemed as good as the previous 2 videos got scrapped, and I never came up with inspiration, which meant I never wrote the script, and I never got around to making the third destruction review. That doesn't mean I never did anything with it. I made this silly video on how to wash your car properly. That was kind of dumb, but some people seem to enjoy it, and that's why there's no paint on one side of it, and the masking tape numbers are still on the windows, or at least what's left of them anyway. But as far as videos goes, that's all I got out of the thing, was just one silly video, and then it sat. Shortly after I got it home, I took it off-roading back in the woods where I got it stuck. I used it a couple of times to haul sticks and brush around my property, but that's not very useful. And then at one point, my rooster started attacking one of the hens, and once a chicken gets bloody, all the other chickens start pecking at it. So for it to heal up, I put it in the Durango. So for a couple of weeks there, the Durango was acting like a chicken coop, and now it's disgusting. It is full of chicken poop, and it still had some of the feeders in there. And I think I used it for that purpose a couple more times, but I don't honestly remember. And then last year at some point, I rented a skid steer for some various landscaping duties around my house, and I drove by the Durango and I thought, huh. So for the past year, it hasn't had a window, and all kinds of manner of crap has gotten in, including toys from the neighbor's children, who apparently thought it was a nice target to throw stuff into. They're not getting those toys back now. But remember, I did tell you that it wasn't in good shape, so you shouldn't feel bad for it. The problem with it was, and the reason that the previous owner was going to scrap it, was that it had big electrical issues. It would cut out randomly on the highway. If you go near the throttle, it's say about 50% or more, the engine would die. And that's a problem if you want to use the vehicle. And also, while I was playing around with it, half the time I would start it up and it would just create huge plumes of smoke. It wouldn't idle properly. If I go near the throttle, it would die, which is how I got it stuck in the woods in the first place. I tried to motor my way out of a hole and it just died and got stuck there further. And it had over 250,000 miles, so it was approaching end of life. I'm sure if you took better care of it, you could get more mileage out of it, but it wasn't especially well taken care of. The bottom line is, it's not in good shape. It's not anywhere near in good shape, and now that I've had it for 3 years, it's very gross, so I'm not throwing away a perfectly good vehicle. And even before I did the chicken poop and the stabbing to it, it still wasn't in good shape. This thing also has quite a bit of rust that I didn't know about beforehand. Look at that. Completely smashed in. All of this whole panel is completely rotten. Granted, this is a body-on-frame vehicle, so it doesn't matter a super large amount, but that's a lot of rust. I got it for $500 because the previous owner thought, well, that's probably the scrap price, because he was going to take it to a scrap yard. So at least I extended its life for a little bit. For torture purposes, I guess, so maybe it's not all that noble. And now I've had it for almost 4 years. I don't think about it at all anymore. It needs to get out of my driveway. I'm obviously never going to do anything video-worthy with it, and I need to get rid of it now before it just sinks into the ground and becomes a lot harder to get rid of. Besides, it still starts and runs now if I hit it with a jumper battery. Wow! That legitimately surprised me. It's even idling! I'm honestly very disappointed. The last time I started this thing up, there were huge clouds of smoke. Giant plumes coming out of the exhaust. And now, nothing. There's a vaguely coolanty smell, but no big plumes. I'm very disappointed. That tire is flat, which is another good reason to get rid of it. I need to get rid of this thing while I still can, while it still starts up before it deteriorates into the ground. Come on, you're not keeping the rhythm. All right, now that it's on the trailer, its ability to start and run has no bearing on me, so I can show you its problems. I put the foot and then it died. Whoa, it came back. That's a new one. I put my foot on the throttle and it immediately cut out. This time it revved up afterward. Normally it just dies. Now it's gonna work. I swear it didn't do this before. Okay, there it died. My foot is hard down on the throttle right now. This also has the added benefit of using up what little gasoline is left in the tank, so I don't have to drain it out. All right, I need to get all the gas out of the tank, and I don't want to get underneath here to drop the tank, so I'm just going to put a brick on the gas until it runs out. That's not going to work. That is not a big enough brick. There we go. This went on for a good 20 minutes, and I'm sure my neighbors absolutely loved it. But there was more gas in that tank than I thought, so I eventually took the brick off of the pedal and gave up. Side note, I didn't realize until I was using it how dangerous it was to drill a hole in the gas tank with a drill that has a brushed motor. I was drilling it in the bottom, gas was running down around the motor area where sparks are being created. Don't do this. Don't. Oh, it's so ominous. Oh, it's so crushy. Oh, man. Oh, Durango. Goodbye. It's gonna, oh, there's the hole I punched in the gas tank. It's gonna disappear over in the horizon. And that was it. No more Durango. By the way, would you like to guess how much scrap money I got for the Durango? $371 and some change. I paid $500 for it 4 years ago. I lost money. Oh no. Anyway, that's it. Quick, simple video. I just needed to get rid of the Durango, and I figured a claw grabbing it would make for some fun viewing. And it did. I was entertained. Tried to move it when I wasn't looking. Oh, I was putting it next to its Chrysler, buddy.